Hello and welcome back to another episode of White Album 2's Fan Club Radio. Right now we are reading through episode 85 and this is part 2. We're talking about how Setsuna glows when she's dumped. That's when she truly shines, which is the saddest thing I've ever heard. But here we are, we're going to talk about some of the different times she was dumped. Right, though in terms of close involvement, it would be Kazusa. Right, it would. But with these three, it's escape. Yeah. Escape and a sense of duty. Well, in Koharu's case, the sense of duty is particularly strong. Yeah. Maybe that's what makes it different. Though I feel like with Kazusa, when he leaves her for Kazusa, the way she takes it is its own separate thing. Yeah, you're right. For Setsuna, between someone other than Kazusa and Kazusa, yeah, the feeling is different in Setsuna's mind. Right, yeah. Oh, so basically, I don't really like to talk in terms of winning and losing. But if we're saying, yeah, she lost to someone other than Kazusa? Yeah. If we think that way, I don't know. Well, which would she hate more? Well, but I think there's the fact of having escaped the triangle too. Yeah? Setsuna knows that Kazusa is really the one he loves, but I guess if he went to Kazusa, Setsuna would come along, right? Yeah? And the fact that he's escaped from that he's going to these other three, yeah? I feel like that would create a slightly different nuance. Right, well, for Haruki, it's ultimately the healthiest? Yeah, which is good. This is something I say all the time, finally breaking away from all the baggage that trio has and moving on to something else. Also, for Setsuna, and I can't speak for Setsuna, but I feel like it would hurt her more for Haruki to go back to the rival, right? To go back to Kazusa, because the three of them had this love triangle. They had promised to stay together. But Haruki leaving for someone like completely outside of it, I feel like she can stop thinking about it all the time, rather than being fixated on it because it's, one of her best friends from school and her boyfriend. That's tougher. So yeah, I do think it's the healthiest for everyone. He might be able to build a normal family, right? Yeah, and Setsuna is really the main axis of White Album 2. Yeah. So, I mean, that's exactly why Coda exists. Yeah? Right. Him having someone else, him dumping her, them breaking up, in a sense suggests that he can't be involved with Setsuna anymore. Yeah? So, well, whether it's Chiaki, Koharu, or Mari, yeah, the story takes this shape. Right. And he genuinely parts ways with her. Yeah. Which turns it into a different game almost. Good point. But the fact that people are playing each of them, developing genuine emotional attachment is nice, I think. Of course, these could be called side stories. Yeah, since they're deviating from the main axis, right? Yeah. But people are playing them. Yeah. And getting invested emotionally, and I think that's great. Right. They're so good. I love the side heroines. I wish they had their own games. Like, obviously, Setsuna and Kazusa are the main points. When you first open up, when you first finish the introductory chapter, it almost feels like, who are these people? It's so annoying. They're getting in the way of, the girls that I know and love. But then, at least for me, once I started playing them, I'm like, oh my God, I love these women. So, I don't know. Everybody has their own opinions. I love them so much. It's so much fun for me. And again, I think it's the healthiest, so I really kind of gravitate toward those. The scenes where she gets dumped are really They're so well depicted that I almost feel like that's where the most effort was put in. Yeah. And they make me go, wow, Maruto-san really knows what he's doing. Yeah. And well, everyone is saying Setsuna shines when she gets dumped. That seems to be a common point. Right? Yeah, that's right. She does keep getting dumped. Well, it's all Haruki. Haruki dumps her, but it's true. I'd be a little surprised if someone other than Haruki dumped her. Yeah. Huh? Who? No one else gets that deeply involved with her. There aren't really any male rivals. Right, there aren't. It's completely about what Haruki does. Right. Well, maybe that's inevitable. Yeah. Yeah, if they did have a male rival, I feel like it would lessen the emotional impact of Setsuna getting dumped. Right? Because we could think, oh, well, she can go to this other person and, like, he cares about her and will treat her well. And, you know, fans, like, shipping them together. She doesn't have that in this story. So when Haruki dumps her, it's really like, I mean, realistically, we could assume she'll find somebody else. But in the game, there's nobody for her to fall back on. So it's just even more sad when it happens. Since with these others, there are circumstances, Haruki gets swept along by circumstances in a big way. Yeah. Rather than doing anything proactively, but that's what makes it an escape. Yes. With Setsuna, maybe he decided proactively to leave. Yeah. But as for me, I was talking about which one I like best of the three. Right? And I think I said probably Chiaki, but actually, I think someone other than Chiaki would be better. Wow. Why? Well, I'll leave that to your imagination. We know. But it's really something. It's wild, Nabatame-san. Is it? Chiaki's route is something else. I mean, I am enjoying Chiaki's route, but I'm a fluttery while I'm playing it. I mean, Chiaki's like the most forward, I think, with her desires and with the flirting. She says things very bluntly, so I could see why she's getting fluttery. Yeah, that fluttering might stop. Really? We know why it will stop. Yeah, says Haruki. If you're playing it as Haruki. You won't be so giddy anymore. Man, I don't know. I'm sort of coming at it from Kazusa's viewpoint. Yeah. I'm sure. So, on the flip side of that giddiness, I'm irritated. Right? I can see why. Yep. Seriously. This is a bit of a digression. Okay. You two, this happened when we were recording for the anime too. But depending on what point the story's at, you get super cold with me sometimes. It overlaps with reality and I can just feel the chill. Oh, it's hard to break out of your character. Did you do that on purpose? No, I didn't. You did. You definitely did. Not at all. What are you talking about, Daichu-san? It happened. Whenever recording is over, well, we all record together for the anime, right? And sometimes I would just think, I'm sorry. Toward one or the other of you, I'd be thinking, I'm sorry. And when it was off, when the story was turned off, and I talked to you, yeah, I felt like I was treated that way. That's not true. That's just you, Daichu-san. That's your personality. Oh, it's a me problem? No, listen. You two have always sat apart from me in the studio. We all sat together at the end, didn't we? Only at the end. We did. Just like a commemorative thing. But not mentally. Mentally, there was There was a feeling of distance. This poor guy, he's like pouring his heart out. Like, you guys excluded me. I didn't feel good. I'm sure he means a lot of it. Like, he's kind of joking, kind of laughy right now, but like, he's serious. That's so sad. Naba-san and I, close by, right. We always sat together. That's not right. Just me off by myself. Well, boys and girls have to sit separately, you know. Indeed. Oh, is that where we're taking this? Actually, there wasn't anyone sitting near me. What? Oh, the closest person to me was Takeya. That's true. Ah, of course. I see. Maybe that kind of relationship did end up taking shape. Yeah. Without our realizing it. Exactly. We love you though, Daichi-san. Yep, we do. You said that awfully lightly. Oh, they're trying to get along. At least he had Takeya. And that's really fitting for the voice actors to be good friends, just like in the game itself. Yes. Anyway. He refuses to understand. Moving on. This is from Simon-san. All right. The scene I want Daichi-san to talk about, yes, at the opening of the shared route in CC. Okay. I want to ask about the scene with Setsuna and Haruki after leaving the mixer with the medical school students. Okay. Uh-huh. After spending the 3 years following IC apart, maintaining this strained distance between them, the article about Kazusa published in the Kyograph gives them an opportunity to close that distance little by little. Right? And in the midst of that, the mixer event happens. Setsuna wants to regain her former relationship with Haruki and for him to scold her, while Haruki once again hesitates to shorten the distance between him and Setsuna. It's so frustrating how they keep missing each other by the tiniest bit. Setsuna even tells him to just drop her already, and for one moment, Haruki considers, even if it's a misunderstanding, the possibility that it could set Setsuna free. Daichi-san, how did you feel about Haruki's state of mind in that moment? And what did you think, Yonezawa-san, as you were playing Setsuna? Okay. That scene. I just played it, so I'll know what you're talking about. I'm thinking about the way, yeah, right? He ultimately keeps that distance from Setsuna. This scene is really tough, too, because Setsuna just wants him to act like anybody else, like treat her like anyone else. Don't, walk on glass. Don't feel like you're walking on eggshells, whatever the expression is. Just treat her like he used to, kind of knock on her and rip on her a little bit, lecture her, yell at her. And he just doesn't do any of that. It just feels so fake and forced. So it was really sad. Yeah. And I think this could be the case for romance, where you actually do see each other. Yeah? But I guess the situation with these two, yeah. They're not a couple in a state of ennui, exactly. Right. But it's a relationship where they can't quite settle. They're sort of almost separated, but they just can't make themselves. Yeah? Cut that last thread connecting them. Yeah. So here's a bit of Haruki really is being egotistical. Yeah. But he can't have her right next to him. And yet at the same time, the idea of her becoming someone else's? Yeah, and that's super greedy. Although I don't exactly know. I feel like if Setsuna genuinely did find another guy, Haruki would move on. Because his whole thing is he feels so guilty because Setsuna is just dead set in her depression, and he feels responsible. But if Setsuna moved on and found a guy and wasn't depressed, I feel like Haruki, honestly, my opinion, he would get over it. And this would be so much healthier for him. I'm not saying she's responsible for his mental health or anything. No, we don't do that. But if it happened, I don't think Haruki would be all that jealous, honestly. Of her actually leaving him for someone else, is too much for him to endure. Yes, yes. It's extremely selfish. Yeah. But I also don't think he can help it. Ah. So if, for example, they were to break up right here, yeah, he would definitely lament it. Yeah. Even if he thought that would be the easiest way. Well, it would definitely hurt. He knows it would hurt, but they ought to separate. Yeah, that's what we all know at this point. They ought to get together or separate. It's so frustrating having them in the middle. He knows they ought to separate, but he can't leave her, right? He can't make up his mind either way. So he wishes she would just break up with him instead, right? While Setsuna wishes he would break up with her. Yeah. But it's basically, it would be so easy if one of them could just chop it off like that. Right. But neither of them will do it. And they've been stuck here this whole time. Right. I think it might partly be this way because Kazusa left. Probably. Well, I don't know about the exact order at this point. But with Kazusa, since Kazusa has gone, yeah, he could be thinking, yeah, she's left me behind. Right. Like she's abandoned him. But he still can't go to Setsuna, so he ends up with this great emotional distance. Yeah. While he's distant from Kazusa on a physical level, right? But the triangle remains a triangle. Yeah, I mean, and that's why in that Christmas scene, the Christmas Eve scene with Setsuna, Kazusa's still there. Even though she's not present, she's not saying anything for real, she's still a big part of that triangle. It's still very much a thing. Which is why, if he were to hear some talk about Kazusa maybe finding a guy overseas, he would go, "What the hell?" Yeah. So yes, this I agree with. Because he wants Setsuna to dump him. He wants Setsuna to be happy and get over him and just be like she used to be. That's the main source of his guilt. With Kazusa, there's nothing like that. If Kazusa found a new man, you bet Haruki would be very upset. That's my feelings on it. I know they don't even agree with me, the voice actors and actresses themselves, but that's my opinion. And probably when it came to the idea of Setsuna going to this mixer, right? He didn't like that either. Yeah. Man, guys can be so selfish. It could be partly be that he doesn't really know what to do. Yeah, right. I think he's afraid that if he gets a little further away or a little closer, the whole relationship could collapse and there would be no getting things back to how they were. Yeah. So he must have felt stuck, even though he felt like he had to do something. And that's probably why he's not able to conduct himself very well. Yeah. I mean, normally in a less heavy relationship, you might go, I'd be okay with breaking up, but it seems like a waste. But that's not the deal here. Right. So he's stuck because he's agonizing too much. Maybe so. Agonizing too much. Well, if you're asking yourself, what can I do that will be the best for everyone concerned? True. You're not going to find an answer in this situation. Right? So someone on their own has to. So Haruki could run away from it if he wanted to. He's got that space in this story, right? He does. But Setsuna has no path of escape. That's right. That's what makes this so brutal, right? I love going, Haruki Kitahara, you idiot. Just hanging up immediately. With that, I feel like the distance is closed a bit. Right. I mean, she wasn't even able to say that much for 3 whole years. That's the thing. Neither of them could be honest with the other person for so long. Right. Really. The 3 years leading up to this stage, yeah, were way rougher by far, I feel like. Yeah. Dang. With Setsuna, watching from afar. Ah, so complicated. Well, yeah. Generally, you just end with that. Ah, so complicated. It ends there. You end it there. Oh well, what can you do? Too bad. Yeah. And with that, that's all the time we have. All right. Next week, for Volume 3, we'll be reading mail about Setsuna's route in Coda. Also, we're accepting suggestions for scenes and themes in Kazusa's Coda route, as well as the infidelity and sworn enemies routes to discuss with Daichu-san. Feel free to shoot all your mail our way. White Album 2, Fanclub Radio. Please make me an idol. Producing Madoka Yonezawa. I want to be an idol. With chubby cheeks and a takoyaki smile, you and I make a perfect pair. Madoka Yonezawa, a snow-white angel born in Osaka. Let's huddle our hearts in a circle and build her together. Sometimes, in the spring, I still remember my graduation. When I went to accept my diploma, my fingers brushed against the principal's and my heart went crazy. I just know it was... Nah, never mind. Whoops. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, that's so funny. So, if you've seen my previous episodes, you'll know the Make Me an Idol segment is where they kind of make this fake idol named Madoka Yonezawa. And they have fans send in mail to talk about like different scenarios that this idol girl might be in. And they're really funny. And so the last time we talked about this, the scene where her fingertips brushed against the principal's was the scene that ended up winning. They voted that it was the most interesting and the coolest. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. Of course, Haruki's voice actor doesn't really know this. It's kind of funny. For this segment, in an effort to turn Yone-chan into an idol like Setsuna, we prepare a theme for each round and asks for ideas from all of you. To begin, our theme for last time was a massive scandal caused by the idol Madoka Yonezawa at a flower viewing. Let's see how you voted. There were 3 choices. Number 1. She gets into a battle in outer space with a boogery old man over a legendary powder said to bring the cherry blossoms to full bloom. Number 2. After drinking 800 cc's of sake, she turns into a man and knocks out the producer sitting next to her in a bout of drunken boxing. Number 3. Just as a married couple comedy act, Kinako-chan is being presented, Kinako-chan runs off in the middle of it, and everyone has to go and look for her. Now, we asked all of our members to vote on these 3 options, but what do you think, Daichi-san? Which one do you like? Which one do I like? I like, yeah, the comedy act one, maybe. That's like the most boring one to me. I don't know. Actually, I don't really like the old man one either, though, because that's kind of gross. So maybe it's my number 2. Oh, Kinako-chan. Ah, yeah, somehow. Somehow. So, which one do you think got the most votes? Well, I feel like the outer space battle one. Ah. Since the concept is on such a grand scale, I think that would be the most interesting. All right. Well, I'm ready to go ahead and announce the results. Okay. The option that received the greatest number of votes was number 2, drunk boxing as a man. Oh, what? It was a landslide. Wow, I didn't match up with them at all. Not remotely. Huh. Well, I like this one too. I think that's really interesting and funny, and I don't know. I just think it would be funny to see it. Okay. They want you to turn into a man? Into a man. You, Yone-chan? Should I turn into a man? Then you, Yone-chan, as an idol. As an idol. A man. Well, there are plenty of male idols too. That's true. Yeah. An idol? You're turning into a male idol? I think you're just a drunk. All right, then. Wow. Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. What were you two expecting? The outer space battle one. Same for me. Right? Yeah, so I thought. Yeah, I guess the boogery old man wasn't so popular. That's it. As snappy as it sounded. Yeah, right. I guess there's no way of knowing what people will choose. True enough. All right, here's this round. Yes. All right, and we will stop off there for this episode. Thank you so much for being here with me for White Album 2 Fan Club Radio, and we will pick this up with part 3 shortly. Until then, I hope you take care. See you.